Hey everyone, and welcome to MCP Sound Check. I'm Wade.
And I'm Joe, still. I'm still Joe.
You're still Joe, and today we are going to do A Tribe Called Quest's Low End Theory.
Mm-hmm.
It's their second album, came out in 1991.
That is true.
We did People's Instinctive, I'm not going to say the whole title. We did that last week, so this week we're doing Low End Theory. And I'll openly say that you remember that we might as well tell them the story of what I told you after listening to Low End Theory. And I said it is so much better than the previous album, and then you're like, everyone knows that.
Everyone knows that.
Of course we do.
This is the first time I listened to this album.
Mm-hmm. Well, this is your first trek through the A Tribe Called Quest.
Yes. This is my first quest.
Your first tribe through the Called Quest.
That sounds kind of dirty.
Oh yeah,
a little dirty. I feel like this album's a little more focused. I felt like the first album, I don't know if I touched on it last time, but I felt like the first album was a little
too homogenous.
I don't think it had a focus. I think it was just kind of like a free spirit, and I guess that's what the appeal was. It was kind of like, oh, we're doing, whatever. This one I felt like, and it got to the point where a lot of songs were sounding the same.
Yeah.
This one, they changed that. They have more focus. They really kind of take the songs and they really work with them.
Yeah, and what's interesting is with People's Instinctive Travels, that album, everything kind of sounds similar, and the flows are similar. So it kind of does sound very similar after a while, like the same. But that could be really easy listening because it's a good record.
Yeah.
This one, everything sounds similar, not as similar, and things are varied quite a bit on certain songs. And you have Fife Dog having a lot more verses. You have Ali Shaheed Muhammad on a bunch of the songs. They had Brand Nubian. This is the breakout for Busta Rhymes because he's on the last track.
Oh yeah, he is.
And this is his breakout as well. And while this album has less singles and less songs that are on the radio, I think as a whole, and most people agree, this is a better album. Period.
Yeah, it's like let's say People's. I feel like it's
spoiler alert on the ranking.
It's the next level. Like they go to the next level in like less than 2 years. I think the first one was 89. I believe it's 89. I'm about 80% sure it's 89.
It's around that time.
So this one came out like 2 years later, and it just starts out like the bass is much, I think, thicker. I think they're using a double bass. The big bass, or
sometimes, yeah.
It seems like they're using that as.
I mean, they use more jazz samples on this rather than the previous record, which amazingly still everything sounds very much the same, but it pulled from, I think, a little bit more material. Like you had soul and R&B and jazz on that one. This one's much more like jazz focused.
This is what a sophomore album should be.
An improvement of everything you've done before.
It should be an improvement, and they improve it bar none. I told you the first 4 tracks are completely different in tone and attitude, all kinds of things. They're still positive, but there's like different themes to it. The other ones, the previous album was just kind of like it's just the same song a little bit, the same cadence. But this one, like the cadence is different. Everything, And
one thing I want to point out. Before we get any further, I wanted to bring it up last time and I forgot. The thing I really love about these early Tribe albums is they don't have skits. It's all songs. Skits become really big.
Oh yeah.
In hip hop records, especially when you get into the 90s, and it's just you'll have a song or two and then a skit. And another 2 songs, and another skit.
I think the Eminem
and it drives
album,
me nuts.
I think the first Eminem album, the previous, pretty much all of them they have like 3 skits in them. Like I always skip them.
Yeah, Eminem, everybody did it. DMX.
Yeah.
There's always like a skit or like a spoken part, and it just completely interrupts
I
everything.
don't care if you guys are hanging out. I don't care. I'm sorry.
Wu-Tang did it, but that album, the first album they had, is a masterpiece. But and they perfected the skit, really. Everybody should have stopped after Wu-Tang.
They're a group of people. So
yeah, Wu-Tang should have been the last people that did skits. But that's what I love about these early Tribe albums. Is there's no skits at all.
And
all songs.
And if there is,
and it's put in the beginning of the song.
If there is, or they're like the interlude part.
Yeah.
So best song.
Best song. I gotta pick, and this is gonna be a really cheap pick for me. It's gotta be one of the singles. Check the Rhyme or Scenario. Scenario is fantastic.
Scenario is good. Yeah.
It's the great closer. Check the Rhyme. It's like
technically not the closer.
I count it as the closer.
I do too. I'm not gonna count a remix as.
Yeah. So, yeah, the Scenario is great. That's where Busta gets his big verse in.
When I heard like a different voice, I was like, wait a minute, and they're like Busta. I'm like, what? I didn't know this. This is a surprise.
Early Busta. Yeah. And Scenario is great. It's got a great hook. And Check the Rhyme's also great. Both of the singles completely delivered. There's a third one, I think, from the record. I don't remember which one it is, but those two are the primary ones to me, and they're the best songs.
I can figure it out for you.
Okay.
Jazz, we got it.
Jazz, yeah.
Mine is Bugging Out.
Bugging Out is another great track.
I think
I put it as my sleeper, actually.
I think I like it because it's after Excursions, which really knocked me on the floor. It was like, whoa, and I was expecting this sound.
This is interesting. I wasn't as huge a fan of Excursion, and nothing against the song. It's all Q-Tip.
Yeah.
And when Buggin' Out hits and Fife comes in and Ali's in, I'm ready. I'm on board.
That's why I'm saying it's my favorite based on like the record in general. Mm-hmm. I think it's
the most indicative of what they're trying.
Scenario is probably second favorite for me, but like it's probably like that's where it really kicks in. Excursion's like, okay, this is kind of different. It's kind of different. It's got the bass tone's a little different, you know. And then all of a sudden, this really kicks you in the teeth.
I love Buggin' Out.
Yeah, it's such a great song. I don't know if I would consider this one a sleeper hit, but Butter. I really like Butter.
Butter's not my favorite. It's one of my worst tracks, actually.
It has like a nice flow to it.
Yeah.
It's better than Ham and Eggs.
It is better than Ham and Eggs.
If we're going to go their food track, it's better than Ham and Eggs.
Everything's better on this record than Ham and Eggs was on the last one. That was one of my worst tracks, and I didn't want to bring it up and bring Wade down last time. That was on my list of worst tracks on that great record. But yeah, what's your worst track though?
Sky Pager.
Really? I really like Sky Pager.
One
of the ones I also didn't like was the infamous Date Rape.
Oh, yeah.
I wasn't into that.
I forgot about that song. Okay, maybe I'm going to change mine. No, is that yours?
Yeah.
Okay, mine's Sky Pager for being the most forgettable song on the album.
I liked it.
I forgot. I don't remember.
It's right after that, so I was like, finally something else. I did not like Infamous Date Rape.
I don't remember. Infamous Date Rape's a little much.
Yeah.
Especially when you had, what was the song? Sorry, I had to look at my notes. What was the song? Like Butter. It's like Butter. Butter kind of talks about a woman, right? Mm-hmm. Infamous Date Rape talks about a woman. I think you just take that song out and just put Butter. Just keep Butter there.
Yeah. Yeah, I could have done without.
Also,
I think the whole record. I don't know how people feel about that song, but I feel like the record would be even held in higher regard in totality if you took that one off.
It's a weak song, definitely.
That's my least. It's by far my least favorite.
Yeah.
Butter, like, as much as I knocked it, that was when I was listening to the first 4 tracks of the record. When you get to Infamous Date Rape, I've listened to most of the record at this point, and I went, nope, that one's the worst. Get rid of this song, please.
Yeah. It's definitely...
If
you bought the whole album on iTunes, that's the one I would delete.
Yeah.
First.
But, because I just didn't dig it. You know?
I agree.
I just really didn't. Everything else is wonderful.
Hidden gem. What is the hidden gem?
I was
no one talks
bugging
about.
out. But let me see if I got another
While you
one
do
right
that,
here.
I'm gonna say show business.
Show business? That's a good one.
Rap promoter's also great, but I think show business does not get enough love because there's a lot of truth to that. There's a lot of they speak a lot of truth in that whole scenario.
Yeah.
It's like I don't know much about the hip hop community, the hip hop record industry or whatever. I don't know how it was back then. I don't know, but the way they rap about it, the more they talk, the more the lyrics are, the more I feel truth from that. And I think that's what makes Tribe Called Quest so big is because you could feel the truth in their voice.
Oh yeah,
and their
definitely.
cadence and their
you never feel like they're just putting you on.
Yeah.
Even when they're talking about ham and eggs. And all the other random stuff, like when he left his wallet in El Segundo.
Like what?
You know, he totally
that album song
totally
What is weird.
What is actually my pick for Sleeper?
Yeah,
I
it's so
love that
weird.
song.
It's so odd. It's great, but it's so
There's
odd.
so much experimentation in it, with like samples they use. There's the point where they have a part where it goes "shut up" or something like that, and it's quiet for like
yeah
3, 4, 5 seconds, and then he picks back up.
Yeah.
And he crosses the bar line all the time.
And it's like, wait, stop.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
It's so good.
I love What a lot.
That one's the
And
closest
it's
from
all
their-
like questions starting with what, and it's a super like kind of, it's a song that makes me think, and I love Q-Tip's like cadence throughout the whole song. You know, there's times where he's like just crossing the bar line like super like effortlessly. And just fitting everything in so well. They're experimenting with the samples and the way the song is put together.
That's a good thing. It's effortless.
Yeah.
How they go is so effortless, and I like how what's placed near the end, so you can do the experimentation because you did the whole album. You're not throwing. If you did that was the second track, it might throw people off. But I feel like you wait till the end. And then you put Scenario after that, and Scenario is you debut a new person, and it's like you don't want they playing it safe.
And shout out to Brand Nubian being on the record. They did great stuff.
It's not a knock saying that they play it safe. They play it the right way, and then they throw the little experimental stuff at the end. That's what you should do. And it could be a preview to the next album. It could be a nice preview or whatever.
But yeah,
which I've not listened to Midnight Marauders, so I don't know how that's going to be.
Look,
but
the thing with Tribe Called Quest albums is they're almost all regarded as some of the best hip hop records of all time, and this one generally is above the other ones.
Yeah.
But I really, really love this record. How do you rank these two records that we've done so far?
Well, the last ranking was People's Instinctive Travels. That was number one last week.
It was also my number one, though.
Okay, was your number one as well?
Yeah, but the problem was, it was only number one.
Yeah, it was the only one we did.
Too bad it couldn't come out as number one.
I'd say number one, Low End Theory. Bar none.
Yeah.
And then number two is People's Instinctive Travels.
Yeah, so same.
Yeah.
Low End Theory is number one.
Yeah.
People's Instinctive Travels is number two. The real trick that's going to be coming up is when we get into the further records and trying to figure out where we place each one.
Those are the ones that are tough.
Yeah, because
I feel
every record I've heard from these guys is normally really good. So it's going to be like splitting hairs. So stick with us.
It's not going to be like GNR.
Yeah, stick with us and see how that goes. Mm-hmm. It's going to be fun. His first time. Not my first time. Sorry. Yeah. Except for a couple of records I haven't heard before. But yeah.
Alright. So I think I'll do it. So next week we're doing Midnight Marauders.
That ought to be fun.
So until next time, I'm Wade.
And I'm Joe.
And remember, hip hop doesn't forget. And neither do we.
What? I forgot.